Hello, everyone. This is Daisy, aka the Professional High Priestess, and I'm here today to drop a channeling regarding karmic children, right? Because right now we are basically in a point in time where a lot of folks are being forced to look at their karmic patterns, address their ancestral karma, address family karma, etc., right? And also to just in terms of where we are moving towards it as a society spiritually, as we are moving into new earth, meaning we're moving more out of the 3D and more into the 5D, right? And also too, as we continue to deal with a lot of, I would say, issues on a societal and political level, this conversation needs to be discussed so that individuals understand completely what they are getting themselves into when they are reproducing with other people, right? So when we are talking, and how did I come to this conclusion about karmic children? Because I used to be a teacher. So when it comes to karmic children, trust me, I know this topic like the back of my hand, okay? And it's unfortunate because, we look at children and we're like, oh my gosh, they're so innocent. No one asked them to be here on this planet, etc., etc. But as we grow older, you all who are on the spiritual journey, you know that a lot of us, we, sign contracts before we come into this lifetime, right? And also a lot of us have past life karma that dictates, who we get as parents, what families we're born into, etc. So when it says that, these children, they didn't pick their path, I will say that yes and no. Because we know that if you look in your birth chart, divination systems, etc., we see what our past life karma is and why we have specific families, right? However, another side of this discussion that I want to bring in is the ways in which these children are created out of low vibrational energies that then set them up for failure for the rest of their life. And I know this is a very touchy subject for some people, so I'm going to let you know right now, if you are triggered by this subject, please just don't listen, because you are going to be upset, because you may be a karmic child. And when we're talking about karmic children, we're not talking about starseed children, indigos, crystals, etc. that are, have a specific soul mission, or even twin flames, right? Have a specific soul mission in this life, then they have to go through specific trials and tribulations to, in order to build that spiritual muscle that they're going to need for when the war really starts. No, I'm talking about children who are born completely out of ill intentions, lower vibrational intentions, material world intentions, who are used as a weapon by their parents, right? Who are not brought into this world with the best intentions, right? Karmic children, too, can also be a manifestation of the trauma and karma that the parent, the mother, and the father have refused to clear. And now this karmic child literally is a walking manifestation of that karma. And their job really is to teach other people karmic lessons, right? So we're not saying that karmic children have no place on this planet. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that a lot of the time these karmic children, they end up just being basically conduits for the system anyways, right? So how do you create a karmic child? Like I just talked about earlier. The way in which you create a karmic child is the intention in which you bring this child to this planet. So let's say I'm messing with someone and I just want to be with them because of money. Know that your child is probably going to have some karma around poverty because of that, right? Let's say, for instance, I utilize a love spell to keep somebody and then I end up getting pregnant. Your child is most likely going to have problems with the issues with abandonment, issues with their love life, etc. for the rest of their life, okay? And some of their karma could be that they don't find love in a lifetime because of they were brought into this earth due to manipulation, tactics, etc. Let's say, for instance, those are really like the two examples. And if you bring a child into this world out of any type of manipulation, just expect some backlash and trauma and karma for that child. So now the gestation happens, the pregnancy happens, the child is here. Now, because, of course, either one of the parents had to be dysfunctional to basically bring the child like that into the world in the first place, now the child is in an environment, of course, where they're going to be it's nature versus nurture. Nature, right, aka it's in their DNA, they already have the karma. Then, of course, they're being surrounded by people, places, and things that only continue to exacerbate that trauma that's already in their DNA, right? So, basically, it's prepping them for their karmic role, their karmic job. So another thing too is, how do we create karmic child is, so I'm Nigerian, and there's a lot of folklore in the Nigerian culture that, if you have a baby with a certain family or bloodline, your child is going to be cursed, da 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 da. And while there was a lot of like superstition and stuff around that, we know that that's actually true. When you tie in with certain people who are low vibrational, aka karmics, incubus or succubus, and we already know that they have a lot of generational curses and karma in their bloodline, what do you think is going to happen to that child, right? Another thing, those who are utilizing spell work to trap people in pregnancies, etc., the entity that you called upon, that child is basically the sacrifice for that entity going ahead and doing your work. That's why I say it's always it's really important to watch what you do, because there are karmic repercussions that ripple out into the eternity. You have no idea what your descendants are going to have to deal with, right? Because of the decisions that you've made. So now you have this karmic child, and then they have to go out into a society, school, work, etc., bringing all that karma with them, bringing all that trauma with them, right? And now they are impacting other people negatively. Another way that another example to give too is, these karmic children, a lot of the time, that's why they promote have sex with anybody, do anything. They promote a lot of hypersexuality and a lot of looseness around our sexuality, and they take away the sacredness from sex specifically so that we can be anyhow willy-nilly with our sex. Why? Because if I'm having a whole bunch of kids, right, that are going to probably get put into foster care, the juvenile justice system, the special education system, there's somebody making money at each of those ends. Now my child has entered each one of those systems. Someone else on the other end is making money, right? My child is being traumatized, abused, etc. in that system, feeding a different type of energy, because we know that trauma creates energy. Trauma creates blocked and stuck emotions, negative emotions. Emotions is energy in motion, right? And we know that the system they feed off of that charged electrical impulse that is in your energy field when you've experienced a lot of trauma. They feed off of that. Entities feed off of that, right? So they go ahead and orchestrate all this societal trauma, which we call structural violence. This is my public health hat coming in, right? So they create all structural violence, racism, sexism, etc. to traumatize people, right? Poverty being the number one form of trauma. To go ahead and traumatize people. Then, of course, that person is either, based on statistics, is going to go into the juvenile the court system, jail system, special education system, healthcare system, right? Whatever system, right, that has to deal with trauma. Their energy is being harvested. There's someone else making money on them at the same time. And now, basically, you've just created a karmic child that's basically just a conduit for the system. Think about that movie, The Matrix. Remember when they shown that scene where there's people, like humans in different pods, and they had those pods connected to like some big giant monster, and it was feeding up all their energy? Think of it like that. When you bring a child into this world, knowing that you're low vibrational, knowing that you did low vibrational things to bring that child into this world, knowing that you and the child's father, etc., or mother have a whole bunch of karma, you're basically just creating a sacrifice. Especially, like I mentioned earlier, if those of you who have, especially for those of you who have, your ancestors have facilitated spell work, or you, say, for instance, have been a part of spell work, to alter, change, or hamper someone else's destiny, your child is now sacrificed for those entities that worked to do your bidding. So for those who are wondering about, like, oh, what about my DM or my DF, and she's having a baby with the karmic, just know that that's going to be a karmic child, and that child is going to suffer. Also know that for those who are in specific type of relationships, like soulmate, twin flame, etc., and your partner has a child with the karmic, right? Because, that's what they do. Like, oh, I'm going to keep this person. I'm going to trap them, because that's the energy that's in the air. Because remember, I told you, spiritually, a lot of people are tightening down Fourth Pentacles type of energy and trying to hold on and get attached to anything like a life raft, right? Because they know that their time is up, because we're moving into a different vibration and frequency entirely. And those who have been in that 3D realm and have not been doing their work, right, they're going to be basically removed, right, and stuck in the old timelines. So, like I was saying, if your partner or your person has had a child with a karmic or succubus or incubus, because now succubus and incubus, back in the day, they couldn't mate. Now we got hybrids, right? If your person has a child, just know that child also too is a karmic to your person. They're not going to have a good relationship. They hardly ever do. Check Saturn, check the 12th house, right? so you can see it for yourself. And I say this because I've learned a lot about this. One, because I said I used to be a teacher. Two, my own life experience with my mom having children by a whole bunch of different people, and my siblings are karmics, right? And then on top of that, like I said, being of course, like doing charts and reading for people, I see so much. So, I want to tell a story about my fake DM. This is my false twin. His karmic was putting love spells on him, all kinds of stuff, right? And then she went ahead and she got pregnant and she had the baby. She was doing spell work when she was pregnant, trying to do spell work on me when she was pregnant. The spells backfired. The child was born early, about a month to 6 weeks early. I looked into that birth chart, curses everywhere. The Lilith, cursed. The sun sign, debilitated. 12th house, I'm not even going to get into that. And because I know how to read charts from that level, from that fifth dimensional ancestral perspective, I already knew that it was going to be a problem. But I was surprised to see how quick it manifested. Then she named the child, that's so funny, she named the child after a demon in Solomonic magic. For those of you who want to know the personal situation, because I'm not going to be saying names, contact me. But she named the child after a demon in Solomonic magic. And when I Googled the name, because I've heard that before, the demon is actually known to grant love spells. Do you see what I was saying when I said that when you create children out of ill and low vibrational intention, it literally becomes a sacrifice for the entity that you utilize to get that child or that relationship or whatever you wanted at the time. It's not worth it, especially when you're dealing with the life of another. And then also you have to remember, you don't know what spirit is going to be reincarnating into that womb of yours. And then you want to call yourself bringing a child into this world out of lower vibrational frequencies, right? Again, you don't know what entity has possessed that child. That's why you see people, and they never get along with their children. Why? Because you're a karmic. You created a karmic child. You learned your lesson, right? And none of us can predict none of us can foresee, like, I would say, yes, you can foresee. Like, of course, you already know that, the way people get certain things or do certain things is going to bring karma, right? But for a lot of these individuals who don't think on that level, they don't think from a high level perspective. They just think in instant gratification, like do, now, codependent, and it is what it is, and it's whatever they want it to be at the moment. For people who are in that vibration, scarcity, right, reptilian mind, we already know what's going to come for them later down the road. Because it's only A plus B equals C. It's only common sense. Simple math. So someone's like, well, how can I stop my child from being a karmic? How do I know my child's a karmic? That conversation is done. The child is here now. All you can do is put them in a space or an environment where they can get access to the tools to not be a karmic, right? And all you can really do is just really pray to the ancestors and the Most High that they have the best life possible. But also to remember, you cannot interfere. If you have a karmic child, and let's say you're watching this and you're older and you see these symptoms and details in your older children, there's nothing you can do to interfere in that. Because maybe, let's say, for instance, they're dealing with a bunch of karma from the father's side, right? Let's say, for instance, they're dealing with a bunch of karma from the mother's side. There's nothing you can do to stop that. What's done is done. That's why I say you have to. Don't make temporary decisions that have permanent consequences, right? That's why you got to be careful. That's why I would say, before you want to have a child, get a karmic assessment done. And I know how to do those karmic assessments, so I can tell you exactly what may happen to your child. So anyhow, I'm going to leave my message there for today. I have a bunch of content coming out for y'all. I know that this week I didn't put too many videos out, but please go ahead and check the annual review for each sign. Check the January love reading. Also check the January generals for all signs, and then also the other karmic channelings that we've been putting out. Anyways, that concludes my message for today. If you need a personal reading, go ahead and check the description box below, but I look forward to continuing to read to you for you guys, okay? Have a great day. Bye.